Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us live. It's good to have you. And I'm so blessed to have two amazing people who have been with us before join us again. Of course, you know our Oga at the top, Mr. Chooks.
Good evening.
He
Good
was with
evening.
us before, and now he is here again. Such an amazing experience to have him and the rest. So we are glad to have you again, sir.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
don't
for
know if you
having me.
can hear me.
Perfectly. Perfectly. I can hear you. Thank you for having
Okay,
me.
thank you so much for coming. Thank you. It's good to have you again. Like you need to see the excitement in my heart. Like, hey, yes, you are having Mr. Tricks again, and all of that. Thank you so much for coming. And this is money for you
Yeah.
from Australia.
5:02
Although we
a.m.
may be here in the night in Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming. Last time that you came here, it was super amazing. It was
Thank you.
one more time with us, sir. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I'll be going to the next person that we are also having, it happens to be his first time, Pastor Obie. Pastor Obie, sir, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chicks.
Good evening.
Good to
Thank
be
you
here.
so much. We are today. The good thing, one of the amazing things I have is that I have Pastor Obie. I have Pastor Obie joining us from Lagos. I have Mr. Chooks joining us from Australia, and I have another amazing person that I want to introduce to all of us. And he is, although what is showing is it is Re Devobole. He's a reverend, and I can remember very well how many times I attended his relationship program back in the city of Makurdi, and that was Colors of Love. And if we recall, for those who have followed All Right Passion for a long time, his church hosted sexual healing. I remember the second edition of sexual healing at that particular time. Malgasa, our dad in the flesh and our dad in the Lord. Good evening, sir. Reverend Dave, I don't know if you can hear me, sir. Oh, it's like, hello, Reverend Dave, can you hear me, sir? Okay. He may be having technical issues, and we hope the issues get fixed. The issues get um. Oh, great. Good evening, sir. Reverend Dave.
Good evening. All right. It's so good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Our guy at the top. I was mentioning earlier on of how color amazing that blessed someone like me in Makurdi, and I ensured that I attended all the ones I could attend for the 2 years while I was in Makurdi, and also how you hosted sexual healing, how we're able to host one of the editions of sexual healing in your church. Thank you so much. Right. So on today's show, we decided to bring some of our elders, right? Some of our daddies and some of our mommies, and not just people who are daddies and mommies, but people who pastor men, beyond pastoring men, who are also leading men, right? Leading men, mentoring men. And of course, I'm meeting Chooks again. Last time was amazing. I have known Re Reverend Dave since 2012. I have known um, Pastor David Ovie since about 2015, thereabout. and I can attest to the amazing things these people are doing. And of course, we decided to also bring some other younger men um, who can also help us see the other side of this particular conversation. Because sometimes our seniors here who have been married for several years, we don't know if they can still relate with today's reality. Maybe the reality of today is different from what they experienced as young men. So thank you, Mr. Akintojoye. Thank you for joining us. You could unmute yourself so that we can hear you. Thank you so much. So first, before I go to Reverend Dave and then Pastor Obie, let me start with Mr. Chooks, because Mr. Chooks, who is joining us from Australia, was so excited to want to join us, and we know he will have to be running for the morning and the rest. So, Mr. Chooks, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Good evening.
So, what was it like when you saw this title, Newly Married Men?
Um,
What was
as
it
I
that came
said,
to your mind?
most of
Hmm.
the topics you have are actually um, challenging. They are things you could relate to it in real life, and
Hmm.
it took me back to when I newly got married, and
Hmm.
it brought beautiful memories, but at the same time, it brought funny memories. Now that with the benefit of hindsight, I know I could have done
Yes.
some things differently, and
Hmm.
many things I worried about were things that,
Hmm.
with the benefit of hindsight now, I shouldn't have been so worried
So
about.
agitated about them.
Yes, which
Okay.
we get to hear everybody's experiences, and from
Hmm.
also counseling people, there are some things that
Yes.
you see that petrify some couples, as in they are literally petrified, and you are laughing.
True.
What you are complaining of is a non-issue, But as I said, I'm
Hmm.
grateful for the experiences, and
Hmm.
I'm also grateful for the topic you picked, because you know the problem with relationship, in all honesty, is that
Yes, sir.
you see people, they want to become barristers and they go to the university, spend so many years and go
Hmm.
to law school. You see people that want to
Hmm.
become an architect like myself, and they do their bachelors and they do their masters, but they want to
Yes.
enter marriage and they don't study anything. They don't even do the
True. I get
basics
that.
of taking out maybe a
Hmm.
year or two to study from maybe
Hmm.
their mentor, if they have one, or their parents, if their parents have a successful marriage,
Hmm.
what it is
Hmm.
about. What are the
Hmm.
pitfalls? What are the likely things I'm to face in marriage? They
True.
just
True.
jump into marriage, and especially for this present generation, they actually think marriage is primarily about love.
Hmm.
You feel goosebumps, I'm in love with her, or let me use
Hmm.
our vernacular, she makes sense, her shape makes sense, and after you cross that part and you're a newlywed, if you don't have the
Hmm.
experience, if you don't have the
Yes, sir.
benefit of having studied what to expect,
Hmm.
because I discovered that for newlyweds, what you expect in your marriage is a function of the environment you are in, and how you were also brought up. Because the
Sure.
environment you are in has a way of affecting you, how
Yes.
you set up yourself for marriage, and also
Hmm.
your upbringing. There's no taking out your
Yes, sir.
upbringing away from how you function in marriage. So these factors,
True.
amongst others, will will determine how successful or how you can navigate your marriage. So
Hmm.
the topic is a good one. It's a good one. Thank you very much, sir.
I thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm coming to Reverend Dave right now, because the moment we were thinking about this topic, and we kept on asking ourselves, who are those people that we know have mentored us, that we have actually experienced their own teaching in this particular field that we should have. And Well, the first person that came to my mind was Reverend Dave. I'm definitely going to be happy with Reverend Dave because I still remember how, uh, even though he had his own ministry, even when he visits in Water Flame at that time in Makurdi, or when he comes to Cassie Beach, and the way he will be pushing those of us that were young guys at that time, where I never old. So I never own. So sir, in relation with what Mr. Chuk said, I want to also ask you that same question. But then I would like to refresh us about the journey thus far. We decided that the month of August we're just going to be focusing on men and see how we can better the lives of men. And the first topic in August, we talked about, am I a real man? Right? Like my masculinity, my realness. What is it that actually makes me a man? And from there, we moved to the next topic, which was bachelorhood is no joke. Like being a bachelor is no joke, and everything, if you're a bachelor right now, you need to put into consideration how you need to live your life. If you've not seen that particular episode, you may check on our YouTube and you will see it. And today we are talking about newly married men, people who just got married and the wisdom they are supposed to have. Next week, Thursday, our topic will be first time dads, people who are becoming fathers for the first time, how to handle your wife's first pregnancy, how to handle the arrival of your first baby, and how to live your life, how to ensure that you don't have a mistake and the second baby you get pregnant in the next 2 months or 3 months. There apart. And lastly, for the month of August, we are going to be talking about how to protect your future as a man so that by the time your children are grown, your children do not take your wife away from you and you become an elderly man who is living by yourself all through old age. So our gasa, our daddy, Reverend Dave, what was this that came to your mind when I contacted you with this particular topic, newly married men?
There is no better place to begin than to express my appreciation to God for the man that you have become. I met you many years ago, a young copper, and your dedication to God and your value for the family and marriage relationship was glaring. And it was obvious that if you continued on that path, you were going to make a great husband and a great father. I want to say I have not been disappointed so far. So thank you very much for staying with those tenets and teachings, that you imbibed from us. And also thank you for inviting me for this very, very important webinar. The moment you contacted me with that topic, the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that men have been overlooked as far as societal engagements are concerned. Traditionally, men have been socialized not to express pain or grief. You were meant to just bottle up whatever you were going through. And today, the life expectancy of the average Nigerian man has been stipulated by World Health Organization at 48, meaning that if you live beyond 48,
that's usually very frightening.
A lot of factors are trying to inhibit the mental health, inhibit the spiritual health, the financial health of the male man. So to create a platform where we'll address issues that border on man is very, very essential. When we talk about domestic violence, when we talk about abuse, the focus has always been on women and on children, whereas the men are left unattended to. There is a growing concern on the girl child education, girl child value system, and so on. If you raise the girl child well, she's going to end up in the hand of the boy child who was not raised well. So I think this is a welcome development where the focus is, or the spotlight is also thrown on men so that we can be able to address the issues that border on their spiritual, emotional, and mental health. Then, talking about newly married man, it is a season where all of the emotions of courtship meets with the reality of marriage. It is a season of adjustment because the man is stepping into an uncharted terrain. It is a terrain he has never walked before. So he needs a lot of caution. He needs a lot of wisdom to be able to navigate. And statistics have shown that a lot of the marriages that pack up within the first 5 years. So this subject matter of the newly married man is very, very important, especially that the male man is the major driver of the relationship or the marriage relationship. That's how God has ordained it. Therefore, the skill of the driver matters so much as far as the longevity and the success of the journey is concerned. If you have a driver that is ill-equipped or amateur, you know, there's a tendency for accidents to happen very, very, very quickly. So a lot of the marriages that pack up within the first 5 years of the marital relationship. So it's very important that the man, they call him bridegroom because he must be equipped to be grooming something about the bride. So it's very, very important that, you know, we understand that this is an uncharted terrain for the newly married man, where all of the emotions meet with the decision of wedding and it enters into the reality of marriage. So it's a very, very crucial junction where a man can hit it or miss it, where he can make it or he can mar it, depending on the kind of information and orientation that he has. I like what my brother, you know, from Australia said. So we collapsed it, all of those factors into two: nature and nurture. Nature has got to do with how we were born, the Adamic nature inside of us. And then nurture has got to do with the environment we're raised in. Those are two factors that affect or influence our programming. And basically, what we bring into marriage is not the containers that make us beautiful or handsome. It's not the biceps, because those ones will fade very, very quickly. It is
true. Oh, network. We are losing Reverend Dave out there, but it's good to hear what he has said thus far. Thank you, Mr. Collins, for joining us. Okay, Reverend Dave, we'll be back to you. Sorry for that technical issue that you suffered. We'll definitely be back to you. Thank you, Collins, for coming, and Chijoke, it's good to see your face again. Now, Pastor David Ovie, you are a pastor, you are a school owner, and you get to work with young people a lot, right? As a marriage counselor and family counselor. What is it like for you? When you saw that topic, what was it that just struck your mind?
All right. Thank you so much. All right. For reaching out to me, even though I know that I'm part of the family. So thank you for the privilege. Sincerely, you sent this, I think you contacted me, it's going to almost a month now, if I'm not mistaken. The first thing that actually crossed my mind, actually reached out to me, was this, some of the things I actually have in mind have been said by Reverend Dave and also Mr. Chooks. But one of the things that I just want to add to what my two brothers have actually made mention of is the transition from the fantasy you enjoy during your courtship and getting into the actual reality of marriage. You know, the fantasy of you always going to the beach, you always going to the eatery, you always going to see movies together at the cinema. But by the time you actually get into marriage proper, you realize that sets in, and the ability to be able to meet up with the fantasy you enjoyed during your courtship time might actually drop. then the issue of expectation starts setting in. But this was not
True.
what I bargained for, you know. So the reality then set in. You realize that all those burgers you used to eat, all those movies you are always going to see after work every weekend, you realize that most of those things drastically drop. And that was where Reverend Day was making reference to the first 5 years statistically that has been proven that most marriages that pack up mostly
Mm,
within the space of the first 5 years because the expectations that were so high, you realize that those things are not actually met. So it is
true.
good that we have this with younger people about what the first 5 years is all about, that the fantasy during the courtship will not always be the same thing at the early stage of the
Mm,
marriage because things are certainly going
mm,
to change and they have to learn how to manage the issue of expectation. And that is the aspect that I'm actually coming from. The issue of expectation.
yeah.
You need to manage it. And that comes at the very early stage of the marriage. And it's good we have this platform to educate them. My marriage is going to be
Mm,
13 by December. And I can tell you that
wow.
the first 3 years of our marriage, we had our own ups and downs, and they were still falling back to the issue of expectation. We are coming
Mm,
from different backgrounds. I am coming from a background where I practically raised
yeah.
myself to becoming whom I am from the age of 13. And this is the last one coming from a family where the families are always around her, have been there for her. So I have this belief that, okay, because I raised myself, I expect you to also be able to stand up for yourself. So it took time for me to be able to do away with that mentality of being a strong man, that I'm also expecting my wife to also be the strong woman re- for me to be who I am, of which she cannot actually be whom I am. So the issue of expectation is one aspect I think that we need to deal with this evening and with other issues that will be raised by our wonderful colleagues in the house.
Thank you so much. I actually appreciate that angle in which you came in. Okay, so now we are done with the older people. Let me come to the younger people right now in marriage. So we have we have my friend and colleague in practice, Mr. Akin, welcome. And we have Collins, we have Chijoke. So let me start with Collins. What was it like for you? What do you think are the challenges these men usually get to face? What are the experiences like?
Good evening, everybody. I really appreciate being here. Sorry about that. Uh, for me, what the challenge
Hmm,
is like the last speaker spoke, expectations. You know, people have their dreams, have their fairy tale, they have characters they build in their mind, they have what they want to see. And the funny
hmm,
part is that they become the directors of this film and they just want to fix
hmm,
into one character they prepared in their hearts. And it's
hmm.
about understanding that people have the way they want to feel loved. You can't choose it for them. You only have to understand them.
True.
Some people choose to be loved by rendering service. Some people choose to be loved by paying more attention. Some people choose to be
Hmm,
loved by gifts. Some people choose to be loved by different things.
hmm,
So if
hmm,
you assumed, like they always say, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. If you choose to assume you have
hmm,
challenges. Challenges are normal in life. For me, my own
hmm.
experience is I discovered that I was a little bit prepared, but I got some shock. I
Okay.
never believed that. Uh, sometimes you're prepared, but sometimes you're still surprised that was I really prepared enough? So
Hmm, hmm,
I seek knowledge. I read books. I read books by there's a particular two books, in short, that stood out for me that I read before marriage. One by Miles Moreau, Understanding the Purpose and Power of Men. Then one by Dale Carnegie, the How to Win, Influence, and Influence People. But at the end of the day,
you wanted to learn how to win and influence your wife.
Sure. So at the end of the day, you need to evaluate, reevaluate. Where am I getting it wrong? Where am I getting the other part that helped me was trying to put yourself in people's shoe, empathy. If she was me, will I want to be treated this way? If it was she, will I prefer to be treated this way? And I think that really helps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So let me come to Peniela. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? First of all, help me out. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Yeah, muted.
Peniela is the right pronunciation. Peniela.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you heard Pastor David Ovie. I was talking about the fact that one of the biggest challenges is usually the expectations that we get to have as young men who want to get married. We just think that, since we have been waiting on God, waiting and not having sex, since we have been eating outside, since we have been doing this, everything was just going to be perfect at once. What was it like for you?
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, I would say that myself and my wife, we did our best to have a courtship that was a lot practical. We were in courtship for like 4 years, and to an extent, we knew ourselves as thoroughly as possible. But there are aspects of marriage that usually do not feature in courtship, and I'm going to cite one of those aspects. The aspect of domestic chores. Usually, no matter how thorough you thought the courtship was, you are not likely to be able to really, experience or judge the extent of domestic adaptability. Let me use that word, of one another.
Yes.
So now I remember that in our early days, we had a lot of challenges with expectation, with coming home sometimes, and you are hungry, and then there's no food. I remember, yes, I remember it happened again and again. Times wherein I would have gone out in the morning, and at that time my wife was not even working yet, so she was home most of the time. And then I was going to arrive from, I resist every temptation to eat out, that kind of thing. I had opportunity to eat out, but I will resist every temptation to eat out, just because I believe that Madame has cooked at home, only for me to come after roaming around the courts, EFCC, police station, all manner of up and down. And then I'm coming back, and then I enter the house, and I realize that nothing is going on in the kitchen. And then I come to the room, I meet Madame sleeping deeply. Then I rush to the kitchen thinking maybe she will cook before she started sleeping. And then I realize that all the pots are clean, nothing is going on. And this is 8 to 9 in the night, in the night. And usually they say an hungry man is an angry man. So and how do you respond to such issues without becoming a pagan? You know what I mean? Without falling below the standard of Christ. So I can reference this particular area. It was so I learned how to sometimes often control myself when I come back like that and there's nothing going on. There had been times I have had to go to the kitchen and do the cooking, even at that late hour, or sometimes go out to buy food without making the mistake of buying for myself alone. Because that's also dangerous. The temptation is that Yes, the temptation is always that I'm going to buy for myself and I'm not going to buy her own. She has been at home all day. She has not, I don't know why she's
I should
sleeping.
not cook
Didn't she
anything.
sleep over the night? And she didn't cook anything. So I
Yes.
have a right to go and buy my own. But, if one will have the capacity to stem a possible crisis, then one must
Mm.
also buy for two and then buy for two. So I've had many times to buy for two and then come and wake madam and say, food is ready. So
Food is ready.
this, I
Okay.
think I
Okay.
think I should just stop at that point. But this is an area, a major area that went on for a while, and it was an area that of tension in the home. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. In fact, this one we're going to do. Thank God, Barnabas has been able to finally join us. Chijoke is still waiting. So what's going to happen is that, Barnabas, I will still keep you, right? I will still keep you. You're my guy, of course. On my Benue Connect. When we are talking about Benue Connect, Chijoke is still one of that, right? Chijoke is still one of the persons we met. So if we are saying people that I met through NYC, I met Reverend Dave, I met Barnabas, I met Chijoke. So these are amazing people that I met in Makoti. Thank God for NYC. I would not have had this connect in my life right now. Okay, so what's going to happen is that I'm still Barnabas, I'm still going to come to you. Chijoke, I'm still going to come to you. But I want to first of all just focus on Pastor Ovie, Mr. Chooks, and Reverend Dave. Because whether I like it or not, I must soon let them go so that they attend to their family, right? Then I'll come back. I'll just come back to us. So just give me some seconds. Let me okay. Now, Mr. Chuksa, you mentioned at the beginning that there were some things that looking at those things right now from hindsight, you actually ask yourself that, whoa, why was I racking my head that time? Why was I disturbing myself that time? And right now, you still see some young men going through that stress. I wouldn't know if you can just mention some of those things, what those things are, and the counsel you have regarding those particular matters.
Thank you very much. But I'll start from the last speaker and what he said about being able to balance chores in relationship. In most cases, at times, it's very difficult to balance it. Especially, let me even come from a Western perspective, because I've had to do a lot of counseling here in Australia, and I discovered that the way the system works here, everybody is busy. The way you are busy, that's how the woman is busy. And sometimes you might be working and she's at home, and sometimes it's the reverse. So the ability to step into each other's roles is one of the things that will bring harmony in your relationship. So you come back early, she's not around, and you call her, what are we having for dinner? I'm home. Can I start dinner before you come? Because if you keep roles as this is the woman's job and this is the man's job, you will see that you will run into a lot of problems. I discovered that most times when you travel outside the country, the first thing that they tell you is everything you wear in Nigeria. That whole man, like from our last talk, that about our last webinar, that CJ said, "A man you be." Every man where you think you will be, you drop it. You drop it. The funny thing is that the system here is set up in a way, and I like what Pastor Dave was saying, because the system here is set up in a way that it focuses more on the girl child. It focuses more on the woman. There are incentives for women to be single mothers. Big incentives. So now, for you to step in your role as a man, you need to provide more than big chest and saying a man you be. You must be able to do several things. One of them is communicate effectively. Communicate to her with her love language. I know there was a speaker here that was talking about how you love. I think it was Collins or so. How you love her. Love language is very important, for newlyweds. Very, very important, because communication is everything. Maybe you have an upbringing where finance is not a problem. Maybe you have an upbringing where you're a domesticated person. But if you still do not know how to communicate, you will not be able to get the best out of your couple, out of your spouse. Sorry. Another issue is finance. I will just run over it so I can let other speakers speak. Finance is another big one. How you budget finance. Maybe you see the other person say, in my house, we used to buy things in bulk. So you are now in marriage now. Why are you buying things one? And the other person say, no. In my house, we buy things one. Because you have to save money for other things. You cannot just spend things in bulk. Being able to communicate effectively and plan finance. Because within the first, I've not been married for so long. I've just been married for just 11 years. But I discovered that in that short time, in my 11 years of marriage, I've discovered that the first few years are the years where you're using trying to make sure that everybody leave the concept of self and enter a symbiotic relationship where both of you are now working for the good of that family. Because if you look at things alone from the concept of self, that marriage will crash.
True.
Yeah. So now the third thing is the dynamics of your home, because every home has different dynamics, and the Bible said that they that compare themselves with themselves are not wise. So when you keep putting into your life that Damilola used to cook and for Riro with this kind of style, and the lady is saying, I'm not Damilola, or the lady is telling you, Mr. Dave used to do it like this. You see that you are bringing in friction, because you are now making the person question themselves. If you want to be with Dave or you want to be with Damilola, then be with them. If you are not with me. But I'm back to communication again. The way you communicate what you want that person to know really, really matters a lot. And intimacy is also important, because you see, there are some people, with all due respect, they've had many wild relationships or beautiful experiences. Then, for lack of a better word, they married a Jew man, or they married a girl with no sabi, with no open eye. Then it's worse in the case of females, because they now enter the relationship, if they are married to, in quote, a Jew man, and they come and they pretend. And at the end of the day, they are not happy. But instead of them looking for a way to teach the man what they know, so the man can be able to satisfy them. I say, I'm back to communication again. How you communicate your knowledge, because there's a way you will communicate your knowledge to the man. The man will say, I marry Ashawo. And there's a way you will communicate what you want to the man. It is a serious issue. We might laugh about it, but it's serious. But there's a way you communicate it to the man, and the man will even think he's the one that is coming up with the ideas. See, I'm bringing up a lot of points because I need to step back so that I can let Reverend Dave speak. How you communicate that is equally very important. Then there's one thing that is very important for men in marriage, especially newly-wedded men: personal space. Personal space. There are sometimes you just want to be on your own. I love you. You are the center of my world, but I need me time. I need to be able to put my thoughts together. And she's wanting to love you. Sorry, I wanted to say something. All right, you're on mute. You need to unmute yourself, sir.
Oh, thank you. I was wanting to say something that, you are just coming from that life where that reality where you controlled your life. Maybe you have been living as a man, living in that or one bedroom apartment, or living in that one room parlor. You have actually enjoyed that space. And maybe she's now somebody that has been living with her parents or living with family members or the rest, and she now come and you are just like, hey, please, can I just have some space? Like, it's not that I don't love you, but I want to just feel that let me just get my house to myself for a while.
Yeah. So
I get to
finally,
continue, sir.
thank you. So finally, I'll round up with these 2 points. Social lifestyle. If you're someone that loves soccer, for example, like I used to love football, and I never liked watching football alone at home. So I go to a viewing center and I sit quietly because I like the rush, like the way I see people argue. But upon doing that in 2011 to watch the Champions League final, no, I was about to drive out to go watch the Champions League final. And I saw the sadness of my wife's face. And I said, no problem, I will stay at home. And for some reason that day, I think my subscription expired or something. And she kept telling me, go now, go and watch it. But the body language I was seeing is don't go, don't go, stay, don't go. And I stayed. And that sacrifice killed something in me. The fact I sacrificed, I heard people shouting goal, and I was like, oh my God. And that was the first, I think that was I've forgotten who played that final, but after that day, something died in me about viewing centers. I just never saw it as so important.
Wow.
I saw my relationship as way, way more important than that. I could sacrifice that. Then finally, I would use this term identity shift, because everybody is adjusting to the role of being a husband and a wife. So the ability to be able to understand that dynamics and cut the other person some slack is very important.
Yeah.
Because as a newlywed, your wife will still be doing things that spinsters do, and you will still be doing some things that bachelors do. So the ability for you to be able to cut that person some slack is also very important. I rest the floor so that people can speak. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chuk. I understand that this is morning and you have to run work things and every other thing. This is morning in Australia. You have said a lot. You have built our mind. Thank you so much. And thank you for being on the second episode in this series of for that we are doing for men in the month of August, giving us your early morning, giving us your morning. Thank you so much. We appreciate
it. I would like to hear
you.
Reverend Dave before I run. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, Reverend Dave, our Father has called us colors of love, and all the true colors of love and everything that you have taught us. Barnabas, are you laughing? We attended that. Chick joke, if you did not attend anymore, I'm so sorry for you. You did not attend anymore. Sorry. Hey, yeah, sorry.
But
okay,
I had a
one-on-one
with Reverend. I had a one-on-one with Reverend Dave one time in his office. I don't know if he remembers. There was the time I was
I can't remember.
You can't, yes. I was very thin and lank. So you wouldn't. But I know I came to your office then. I was looking for sponsorship and partnership, and I came to the office and we saw.
I can't remember.
Wow.
That was in 2010.
Well,
thank you.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. So, Reverend Dave, sir, with your experience as a pastor, with your experience as a marriage counselor, as a relationship coach, working with young men, you started pastoring early. You also experienced some of all these things. You are also married, and you are married to one wife. So, what it is like for the experiences you get to receive from young men who are coming for counseling? Because there are many men who have followed you over the years, followed your training, followed everything you teach, follow everything you share over time. And they not come back again after marriage to start complaining about some things. What are these things like, and how have you been able to help them, sir?
Okay. First of all, it is in understanding the anatomy and stages of love. It's very important to understand the anatomy and stages of love. I'll talk about the stages of love first, then I'm going to talk about the anatomy of love. You see, basically, we enter dating and courtship with the wild fire approach to love. That is the stage we call the obsessive stage of love, where you are head over heels, with each other. You are thinking about her when you are awake. And anytime you are sleeping, that's when you are dreaming about her. And she also, you are her walking step, you're her sleeping dream, and you're also her waking thoughts. So those are the obsessive stage of love. And the obsessive stage of love is likened to a wildfire that consumes a dry grass. Anytime there is wildfire on dry grass, everybody in the community can see it. If you are not close enough to see the flame, you'll be able to see the smoke rise up to the horizon. Everybody knows that these people are in love. But after some time, when they get married, and like we were saying earlier, the reality of love sets in, the responsibility takes over, the emotion and obsession of love. All of those outward expressions begin to somewhat calm down. And that is where people who don't understand the anatomy of love, they begin to think that love is dead. So they begin to feel, oh, I don't have feelings for him any longer, all because they have collapsed or reduced love to some good feelings. And when the good feelings are not there, they think love is beginning to die. It's because they don't understand that from the obsessive stage of love, there is always a bridge between the first 5 years where couples cross from obsessive to the covenant stage of love. The covenant stage of love is less expressive, but it is deeper. Just like the welder's flame is less expressive. It is not bringing out smoke for the horizon for everybody to see, but it is hotter than the bushfire. It can cut iron. That is the covenant stage of love. So a lot of people mistake. They don't understand the stages that love passes through. So once they're in the bridge, between obsessive and covenant stage, they think that love has died because they collapse love to the feeling. Okay, number 2, let's talk about the anatomy of love. That's what I have experienced with couples, and I've used that to be able to counsel them to understand what the cycle and stages of love is like. And then about the anatomy of love. Until recently, the subject of love has been the exclusive prerogatives of poets, of sages, and of philosophers. They are the ones who talk about love the most. Social scientists have not dared to delve into that territory of love where they can be able to encapsulate love into set characteristics that when you express, yes, we know this is love in action. But recently, the subject of love, we have studied this, social scientists have studied this, and then they've come up with a somewhat definition that is, all encompassing, because it's difficult to pinpoint what love is. So when you tell a woman, I love you, or when you want a woman to love you, it means different things to different people because of how they want to be loved or how they value and understand and appreciate love. It means different things to different people. So it's important to now understand that when it comes to the anatomy of love, Robert Sternberg of the Yale University, a psychologist, he came up with the closest definition of the anatomy of love, which is a triangle that comprises of passion, intimacy, and commitment. It's a triangle. Passion, intimacy, and commitment. So when you see a triangle, there are various types of triangle. Some of the arms here, is longer than this other arm here and whatsoever. So the matter of love is trying to balance this one so we can have a perfect triangle. At times it's difficult because at times the passion is lacking, or commitment is lacking, or intimacy is lacking. These 3 ingredients actually, they govern the expression of love. So the job or the task of expressing love is actually in the balance of these 3 basic ingredients of passion, intimacy, and commitment. If you understand this, you will know that passion is the motivation of love. It must be present. No matter how committed you are, there must be that spark of romance. It is that is the element of then intimacy. There must be that element of understanding each other. Intimacy is another word for intimacy. The Bible says they were naked and they were not ashamed. I hide nothing from you. We are merging our lives together. So that understanding of self, the man gets to understand what the makeup of a woman is like. And the makeup of the woman also gets to understand what the makeup of a man is like as it differs from the woman. So that you can be able to cut the woman a slack when church is for 8:50, she is still putting the first. Is it? Hello?
I wanted to interrupt, Jeff.
Okay.
Right? And the reason why I wanted to interrupt is because of some of the things that I have learned from you that I also want other men to just also get that wisdom from, right? And also because of our time that is fast spent. I actually wish I could have one-on-one session with everybody, like just a day one-on-one, and we are going to have it. But you see, the reason why I decided to bring you all in is because people usually think that some of the things we share on Facebook or on other places is just us. We are just being antagonistic, or we don't understand, we don't get it, and the rest, right? So the reason why I wanted to interrupt is because of the things I learned from you. I can still remember one vividly that you said we should not eat our seed and sow our harvest. That was one of the biggest problems of people in marriages. I cannot forget that statement. It's talk, right? And that was in 2013. He said, the problem is that you people eat your seed and you sow your harvest. The harvest that you're supposed to be eating, you want to use it as seed. The seed that you're supposed to be sowing, you want to use it as harvest. You want to use it as harvest and eat it up. But then this is the question I want to just ask, so that can also come to Pastor David Obi. What is your counsel to men in handling the financial responsibility? What would be your counsel in handling the financial responsibility that marriage brings on them? Because they have been used to living their life solo, making solo financial decisions, just paying for maybe just a single apartment, and now maybe they have not got a 2-bedroom flat, and there are now some economic things. Whatever they were doing for their fiancé before was based on love, care, and concern. But right now, it is no longer love, care, and concern. It is now duty and responsibility. And so it puts so much strain on them, because the time they are supposed to spend loving their wife, enjoying their new family, they are trying to use to make more money to be able to handle more bills, especially in this economy. What would be your counsel to people like that?
When it comes to marriage and finance, fundamentally, it takes finance to sponsor romance. Money is very essential. In fact, to marry, you need 3 basic ingredients. You need Christ, you need character, and you need cash. You can run courtship on promises, but you cannot run marriage on promises. Cash has to come. So we recommend that there should be, number one, a measure of financial stability where you can be able to take care of yourself as a man, because God gave Adam a job before he gave him a wife. So it's important to have some measure of financial stability. We're not saying have it all, be a multimillionaire. No. Both of you can merge these destinies, merge your efforts, and grow together. So, but in my experience with young couples, basically making and managing of money has been the basic issues. And this is my counsel about that. Number one, women have naturally domiciled.
No, please, don't do this to us. Don't do this to us. We want to hear.
Seed or sperm, they incubate it into a baby. They receive a house and then they push it up into a home. They are receivers and incubators, naturally. So there is a tendency also when it comes to the matter of finance for the woman to domicile herself at the receiving end, leaving the man with all of the responsibility. When it comes to the matter of you being a helpmeet, it's also an economic term wherein you put your efforts together with him. We say when two work together, they have greater reward for their labor. So the era of a woman being laid back and not pushing to be able to earn something that she brings to the table, that era is far gone, especially in the Tinubunomics. Now, the reality of today has proven that, the women should not be laid back. So it's important, number one, as a woman, to strive to bring something to the table. And number two, as a man, if your wife is earning something, it is not a reason to get laid back. No. When a woman is saddled with the responsibility of taking care of you and the home, her respect for you begins to drop. It's a broken woman to stay submissive if she is the breadwinner of the house. God has not ordained that. So she is a helpmeet. Your money is the money of the house.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Then when it comes to managing money, it's important for you to understand the temperament and experiences of both of you, to know who is a better manager of money. The man who is so compassionate that, like I was saying, instead of
we are having some network challenges here, but once it comes back, we'll see how we can take it forward. So now I have Peniela, Pastor Dave, Ovie, Chijoke, and Collins, right? In fact, me, Peniela, Chijoke, and Collins, at least we are all around the age bracket thereabout. So I would like to just come to Pastor Ovie before me and my guys we do our real serious G to see how we can help each other. And the reason is simple. Chijoke is a relationship counselor. Paniela is a relationship counselor. If you don't follow these people, follow the details showing in the description section to see their works and follow them, because me, I follow and I'm getting to listen to these people too. So Pastor Ovie, while everyone was talking on the rest, you mentioned earlier on regarding the transition, if you can still hear me clearly, right? And I would like to ask, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay, great. Barnabas, can you hear me? Okay, so great, sir. So, sir, what would you say? What is that counsel you would want to give to newly married men?
Okay, let me just comment from where Reverend Dave he made mention of the aspect of finance. First of all, I always advise young couples to ensure that the woman is not left idle in the home. You see, when the man is bringing in something and the woman is bringing in something, then there is balance in the home. Now, that does not mean that the man is depending on what the woman is bringing into the home. The woman is regarded as a helpmate. So there will be a time that the man might not be having enough. The duty of the woman is to step in. And that is where Reverend Dave was actually coming from, the point that he made when he was actually talking to us. So the era that we say that women shouldn't work, that era is far, far gone. In fact, it is an error for a woman to wake up now in this, like in the word of Reverend Dave. Is it to, I'm trying to record the Tunubu, what? I don't know. Reverend, I'm trying to use your word, Tunubu era that we are in. The woman
Tinubunomics.
Tinubunomic, I'm going to write that down. So the woman just have to be engaged to be bringing in something. So that is just, that aspect is very, very important. But one of the key things that I want to just advise young couples at the very early stage of your marriage, I advise that you develop friendship. You see, friendship in marriage is not automatic. I'll give you a practical example of a young couple who got married not too long, maybe about 3-4 years ago. The first 2 years of their marriage was very turbulent. And the reason was the guy was of age, and the pressure was there for him to go and marry. And even in the church, he was a minister already, and about the only minister that was yet to be married. And you know what it means? What are you waiting for? When are we eating your rice? And all those kind of a thing. All she did was look for somebody, okay, this is suitable for me. There was no time for them to develop friendship and what have you. They got married. And immediately they got married. The only thing is, honey, when you are coming back, please buy our baby milk. The baby milk has finished. You know, that was the basic conversation that they were having. The communication level was not there because they were never playmates before they got married. So my advice for younger people at the early age, be intentional about being a friend. Because if my friend offends me, I will look at you in the I will look at you in the face. Oga, what do you do? Why would you do this to me? I will talk to you because you are my friend, and you wouldn't take offense.
Sure.
So one of the major challenge with younger people is they're not being friends from the beginning, and they just jump into the mind. Be intentional about it. It's going to help you when crisis sets in. Be very, very intentional about it. Be extremely intentional. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Like I promised you people, fortunately now I still have to keep some people longer, but like I promised, I definitely can keep some people longer because I can beg their wives. But for those of you that are older, if I beg your wife, she can tell me that I should kneel down first of all before she will forgive me. But for at least those that are my party, if their wife tell me to kneel down first before they forgive me, I'm like, I'm still, what do I do now? But punish your husband on my behalf. but for the older ones like you, I cannot do that. So I will have to let you go right now, so that from the lessons that we have learned and everything we have learned, Chijoke, Collins, Paniela, Barnabas, we cannot also talk to ourselves as new people, because it's not like I'm that old in marriage. Barnabas is my senior in marriage. I senior Chijoke in marriage. I senior Paniela in marriage. Collins, am I your senior? Barnabas, meet yourself. Are you not my senior in marriage? Are you not my senior? I'm your boy. Collins, how old are you in marriage?
Less than 2 years.
Oh, less than 2 years. Panela is senior to somebody. He's smiling at me. I mean, it's senior to somebody. And the rest. So, thank you so much, Reverend Dave. Thank you so much, Pastor Ovie. In fact, once this broadcast is over, I'll definitely send you messages, because I will know you may want to go and sleep right now, and we'll continue. We'll do this. I'll definitely contact you. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you for the honor. Thank you for the regard.
Congratulations on your 5th wedding anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us. And Barnabas, it's so good to see you again. I remember I was the one that stood in and paid the bride price for Barnabas's wife when they were marrying. Barnabas, how old are you in marriage now?
Barnabas, it's like Barnabas has network issues. He just left. But he should be about 6, 7 thereabout. It should be about
7 years.
7 years. Okay. Yes, 6, 7 years. So you see, you were his father. You were the father that paid his bride price.
All right.
For us, remember this year will be 20 years in marriage.
Wow.
Our first child is in 300 level already, and so.
Wow. Wow.
So, but thank you very much. It's nice to be here with you.
Before I look forward to Thank you. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Great. So my network was not breaking before. Oh, great.
Stop making
It's
us.
good. It's
Stop
good. So
making us.
yeah.
Can you hear me? Hold on.
Hello,
Stop
can you?
making us look as if we are very old. Okay.
How are you not very old? The person that married for Barnabas is here. The person that married for Barnabas is here, and Barnabas is about 7 years in marriage, and you say you are not old? I don't understand. Come again.
All right.
We're ancestors. We're ancestors now.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for having us.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. God bless you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Uh-huh. So, my people, Chijoke, Paniela, Mr. Collins, and the rest, thank you for staying with me till now. I appreciate you very well, and especially for the fact that you guys have to come. It's a working day and all of that, and you guys are relationship counselors. So, Mr. Chijoke, let me ask you first of all, straight, what was the question that was on your mind when you were thinking about this? What was the question you wanted to ask this man when we were talking about this topic?
Okay. Wow. Trust me, I've just been learning. No, I wish I was even watching. I was not even here, and I was just watching as as one of the viewers, because I've learned so much already for myself. Trust me, and then for my career as well. So thank you so much, our ancestors that have gone ahead of us, all of them. Yeah. So now this is one topic that is very, very important to me, because I have been able to niche down to, okay, so I do counseling primarily for newlyweds. Yeah, that's my primary area of specialty as a coach and a counselor.
I am meeting these guys right now who are also counselors in that field, in that
I didn't hear
area.
that.
I said, and now you are meeting these guys, you are meeting Panela, you are meeting Penela,
yes.
rather, you are meeting Barnabas, who are also in that field, focusing on newlyweds and people who are about to wed.
Yeah. So, and I'm currently even doing a book. I'm doing a book for newlyweds, actually. So, yeah. So it's a topic that is very, very, very dear to my heart. So, what I want to ask is this now, because maybe it's just me. When I got married, one of the major things that, because I think one of the person that I was talking earlier talked about how, I think it was Panela that was talking. I think he said he had some good, he did, some good courtship with his wife. I think it was a long one, and they spent time learning each other. But then when they got into marriage, they realized that, there were a lot more things that they needed to learn. So for me, it was like that. It was not a long courtship; it was a very short one. But then we did a lot of counseling, did a lot of, had a lot of conversations and all of that. And when we got married, one of the things that I realized was, this issue of personality differences. So where you are choleric, for example, and you are married to a phleg wife, or where you are sanguine and your wife is phleg, where you are choleric and your wife is melancholy, or vice versa. It's for me, I think it's a very serious issue. It's a very serious, and that's one of the reasons why, in short, from my experience and my studies, most of the marriages that break up in the first 5 years, if you look critically, you can tie it to personality differences. People that don't understand each other, they don't understand how they are
unable to blend the differences.
Blend, yes, and understand each other's function. So I want to ask, guys, how did this play out? Now, Collins is my friend, and of course, like he said, he's just less than 2 years in marriage. So how is this? I know it's still playing out. How is it playing out in your marriage? How, this issue of personality? Because I know you are you are choleric to an extent. I've not met your wife. I don't know her, but from what I see, when I see her pictures and videos, I know she's a quiet, reserved type. So how is this influencing and affecting, things in your marriage? And then all the other guys, Peniela and Barnabas, you can also shed some light on that.
Thank you very much, CJ. It's nice seeing you again. Let me just pick a scene. let me speak a thing from my experience. What happened? I think it's up to a month or so. We had no arguments. Okay, everyone was quiet. And before I knew it, she started crying. I was shocked. I said, babe, I call her babe. I said, babe, what's the issue? So she started recounting issues. I was shocked. And to me, at work, at business place, wherever I go to, family members, I tell them I'm happily married to the best woman in the world. See, now I feel that way. But I was shocked she was telling me this, that. Then I had to sit down and try to reevaluate. I believe critical evaluation is key. If you don't evaluate quickly, you might run into issues. So sometimes it's just that personality difference, like you say. So I learned that it's better to talk when you're not having issues than trying to talk when you have issues. When you're trying to correct issues, when you are in the heat of it, discussions won't go far because now it looks as if you're defending yourself or you're trying to push some things around. You are not trying to take responsibility for your actions. So like you said, you're right. I'm a choleric person and I'm a straight thinker. I believe if I give you 2 lines, you should pick it immediately. But she's the emotional part. She's highly emotional. She likes the love, the attention, and everything like that. And to me, she's the best because I have 2 core values before I got married. 2 core values. Apart from the mental part, the physical part, I love someone who can create a neat environment, and I love good food. She's a sweet chef. She gives me what I want.
Come on.
And she creates clean environment. To me, I'm good to go with those things.
Invite me over. I love good food.
No problem. And to me, I'm good to go with those 2 things. But I later discovered that you have to understand people's love language. Like I said earlier, I began to understand that, this is what she wants. She wanted the attention. Recently, she was telling me, I know you used to be a good cook. What happened? You've not entered the kitchen since we got married. You've not cooked for me. I want to test your soup and everything. And I discovered that she is doing it better. So why? But I now recognize from that speech that one of our love language could be service. Do this for me. Carry the baby for me. Pick this for me. Sweep that for me. Arrange the pot for me. All those kind of things. So from there, you could pick that. Wow. This babe likes service. She likes you doing things for her. It has been challenging.
In other words, what you're trying to say is, that when people get married, they should learn to observe, beyond just the whole emotions and, the whole infatuation and the whole romance. You must, critically observe, look, and understand your spouse.
Sure.
So let me come to Peniela. Peniela, please, maybe you should also share your own personal experience, because I believe that personally I had my own experience. If I start this, will not end this webinar tonight. It's still there. I'm still learning. I'm still growing, and So Peniela is having network issues. Let's come to Barnabas. Barnabas, maybe you should share your experiences. When it comes to clashing personalities between you and your wife. That is if the both of you are, even if you have the same personality, sometimes there's a clash too. So how is that playing out in your marriage?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Daniela, Barnabas.
Probably having network issues.
Okay, well, I think they may be having network issues, and the rest may just give us some minutes. Okay, Peniela is back. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. So ask him again the question. He missed it.
Yeah. So Peniela, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Daniela?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, so I was asking her.
I can hear you.
Issue of personality personality differences in amongst couples. So how is it playing out in your marriage? Maybe I don't know your wife so, but just how has it influenced things in your marriage in these last few years? Daniela is off again. So Barnabas, can you hear me now?
Oh, so sorry. It's like we are not getting him. But if I should share from my own experience,
Okay.
right? And okay, it's good that Barnabas is also trying to connect back. Is that at first my wife used to just cry. Like I don't understand why. Like I would just say something and you're crying. Like talk to me back, respond back. Like if you have something to say it back. Which one is like she just see that you just start crying and you did. And she was like, because I'm just talking to her. I'm talking to her like a child. Now we have short rows, though. She's not the one talking to me. Because sometimes when she's talking, I'm not like, I think calm down. I'm not one of your children. Calm down, calm down. Like, I'm like, are you trying to shout or what? Are you trying to shout? Please calm down, calm down here. And the rest, and all of that. But you see, we accepted and that blending happened. Okay, Barnabas is back and Penela is back. So you may ask them their questions again.
Okay, Barnabas and Penela, I don't know if you guys heard me the previous time. I was asking about personality differences. How is it playing? How is it affecting, influencing things in your marriage right now?
Okay,
And,
let me go.
Did it take you guys time to adjust to that?
Okay. All right. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me.
I can very well.
All right. Okay. Well, personality differences. For me, I believe that the reason for personality differences is to complement each other, so that we do not find ourselves at any of the extremes of life. I give an example. I am somebody that is a lot very open, very open. Even when I'm talking about my personal life, I can, cite several personal examples with all the details, But I found that my wife is a lot reserved in terms of she's coded. When they say somebody is coded. So anytime I'm speaking, she's always the one that is using her eyes like this, if me I'm
So give you
talking and I
signs,
won't
like
be,
stop talking.
I can even mention the figures of how much I made last week. I can tell them all the details. Has been a lot balancing me. So with her coded personality, so I guess that these days I am a lot more coded before. So, but of course, there are occasions where there will be a few arguments as to whether I said too much or I said too little. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's one of it. Number two, me, I love public display of affection a lot.
Okay.
I love it. Yes. But in her own case, ordinarily speaking, she's reserved. She doesn't like, when you are. But in that aspect, I was the one of my closest male friends saw one of the videos that we made in public and was like, what a transformation it has been. Because she was somebody who was reserved. My own personality is outgoing, and I am never shy. I can even kiss my wife in front of a 10,000 audience. I like such things. I like to show love, in public. I love it that we are entering church and we are holding our hands. and entering a church of 2,000 members. I like things like that. So in that regard, gradually she's also shifting to me,
you're my brother
and
in the
she's
Lord.
now more outgoing. And then she's not usually shy in public to show openly affection. There's another aspect of differences in personality that may be very funny, and which is still an ongoing issue. Now, my own body temperature is always hot. I don't know why. So anytime I want to sleep in the night, is either I must have the fan on all through the night, or I have the AC on, any of the two. So, but unfortunately for me, my own wife, it appears that her own body temperature is cold. You see, her own body temperature is cold. Yes, she's looking at me now. She just came in. So her own body temperature is
Oh
cold.
my God.
So it's always a problem. She wants the fan to be off, and me, I will not
Yeah.
enjoy my sleep, and we will have to sleep on the same bed.
So how
We
do you
have to
manage?
sleep on the
How do
same
you
bed.
manage that,
So
please? I need
many
to know how you
times the
manage
fan
that.
will give her kata.
Oh my God, this network should not mess up. I want to know how you actually manage that, Nella. Because issues like this have
That
led
is still
to
one of
much
a
deeper.
progressive personality difference. We just do strong.
Okay.
Hello. I say sometimes I'll just do strong head, put on the fan, and maybe face it to my side a little, so that we can have some
Okay.
peace. Yeah. So, but
But at that time, yeah, you totally turn the fan off because she's complaining. You just bear it and just take
how we
all
are
the heat.
managing. Hello. I'm sure the network may not have allowed you to hear me well. Did you hear me well?
What did you say? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Did you hear the issue of the issue of the fan? Did you hear the issue
Oh
of the fan?
yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did. Okay,
Hello?
so for me, let me even share something that just came to my mind while you were talking. So an experience I used to have with my wife when we just got married. I remember then. So I grew up in Benin, and grew up in the streets, sort of. So when I was growing up, it was a normal thing for you to call your siblings and people around you names.
Mhm.
So you can tell someone, just tell us, come
Yeah.
on here, you idiots, come on here, Jare.
Mhm.
Come on here, you have no correct. So then my wife comes from a very proper, she's butty, all those kind of things, and then very godly home. Her parents are pastors, so in that kind of home, you don't use certain kind of words, you don't say certain kind of things. Even when you are joking, you don't joke with certain kind of words. So, so when we got married, and then when she's maybe we're just joking or cracking each other up, and then she says something I'm like, "Get out here, Jerry." Just simple, "Get out here, Jerry." Eh? Yeah, I'm like, no, now I'm laughing now. I'm just teasing now. I'm not. She's like, so I should get out. I'm like, no, don't get out. Stay. Let's talk. It was a big deal for me. It was because, and then trust me, it took me time to readjust. Took me time to. So these days when I talk with her, it's just my default. I know my boundaries. Even if the joke has gotten, so I know my boundaries. I try to, because one small thing can just end the whole fun and the whole good time we're having together. Yeah. So that personality
I
thing
think Barnabas has not yet answered that question.
Please, Barnabas, please answer
The question,
that.
yeah.
Please, this personality thing, how is it playing out in your marriage? This personality differences thing we're talking about, how is it playing out? And then share personal examples too. We'd like to hear stories from what's happening with you.
Guys,
Oh my God.
network is doing strong thing. Network is doing strong thing, doing me strong thing. Yeah. But the good thing about it is that the truth about it is that I like the fact that the five of us we have connected. The five of us we are connected. Barnabas, can you hear us now? That the five of us we are connecting, especially unmute yourself, please, if you can hear us. We cannot hear you. Try unmuting yourself. We cannot hear you. And the fact that we have connected and the rest, we are young men who are doing these things, helping people with their marriages, helping people with their lives. And I love that, right? Especially now that very soon Chijoke will be launching out newly married men and projects around newly married men. We are now people who will be there to also share our experiences of how we developed, of how we grew. You know, someone like me, I am Edo, and my wife is Steve Benway. I'm Ishan Edo, Isan. People call us Ishan. And there's a tradition when you cook, if somebody wants to eat, the person will join you or the person will ask. But now I'm married to a thief woman who believes that you have to share food. Family and friends, in the first 1 year of our marriage, it was not funny because I feel that we can finish this food, but she feels that we need to share the food and also give people some food and the rest. And I'm like, what are you thinking? And what are you thinking? How do you want to do this and that and all of that, right? So, but with time, I started realizing that, oh, this is our own culture. This is how they do it. This is what makes it important for them. These are the things they like doing and the rest. This is how they show love to community people. And I started learning and I started, becoming better in that aspect and the rest. So what I would say is just what we are already experiencing to see how we can help more men, right? How we can help more men in our age bracket. They think that some of all these truths that we get to share is old school. No, it's not old school. Like, it's working for you, Peniela. It's working for you, Chijoke Moses. It's working for me. And these are not just things that we learned in marriage. We may have mastered it right now in marriage. Marriage may have given us the opportunity for mastery. Can you still hear me?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Marriage would have given us the opportunity of mastery, but we did not learn it here. We learned it before now. We are only just becoming the experts of it and the masters of it based on the experiences we are now having. So I'll ask Penela this question, and I'll also ask you, Chijuke, this question. Penela, what is that thing you try to explain to young men, you try to explain to single men out there that they are not getting? And you're like, see, if you cross over into marriage with this behavior, it will not pay you. If you cross over with this behavior, it will not pay you. What is that? What is that thing or those things? After answering the question, I also want Chijuke to answer that question.
Okay, if I got you well, that thing that I'm trying to tell young people that they are not getting, that they need to master before coming into marriage. Okay, one of the major things is the issue of self-control, the capacity to keep your temper under control, to keep quiet, and not to respond back in the face of
the capacity
provocation.
to self-regulate
is what yes, to self-regulate, to not to retaliate when you are insulted, when you are, yes, that capacity to the grace of silence, the grace of silence, capacity to absorb and without reacting and destroying the marriage, only for you to now later calm down and be apologizing. I tell young people that apology is often overrated. Apology does not undo many things in marriage.
We are having issues with Fidel. Chijoke, please take it up from there. And of course, Collins is here. So I also ask Collins the question. Yes. So the question is, what are those things that you are seeing young men right now that you actually want them to correct before they cross over into marriage? Because if they carry that attitude into marriage, it will fail them.
Yeah, for me, I think the number one thing is this thing called long suffering. If you don't have it, patience and long suffering, ability to stay and suffer long, and of course, ability to also, be a nurturer, sandwich that thing with being a nurturer, because it's frustrating when you're just long suffering or whatever it's called, and you're not helping the person grow out of that thing that you don't like, right? So you have to be able to develop that capacity to, because truth is that one of the things that I tell young people is this: oneness is not an automatic thing; it's a journey in marriage. Oneness is a journey. Bible says, and the two shall become one flesh. Wow. So for me, I like to see it as a process. Shall become. So most people feel like once you get married, you are just, of course, you are one in the spirit. Spiritually, you are one, but physically, that oneness is a long thing. That oneness, plenty fights, plenty quarrel, plenty make up and break up will follow it before that thing will be achieved. So it is that patience, your patience level, your long suffering capacity that will determine if you can stay through the process of blending, that blending process. So if you're single and you're listening to us, please note this: you need patience in marriage. You need a lot of it, and you need to also be a nurturer. You need to be someone that is willing to help people grow. You're not going to meet a perfect, no matter how good you think that lady you're dating right now is, or that girl that you have a crush on is, no matter how amazing you think she is, you've heard so much about her, you've seen so many, commendable things. Trust me, when you get into marriage, you'll be shocked. Marriage will always shock you. That's the truth. No matter how long two of you courted for, even if two of you were cohabiting, is that serious? Cohabitation and marriage are two different things. Because
in fact, research keep on showing it that couples who cohabit are most likely to divorce than those who do not cohabit.
Of course. I think I shared that on my Facebook one day, and arguments everywhere. I shared these same thoughts on my Facebook sometime last year or early this year. So you get, because truth is that the lady, even if you're staying with the guy, you are not the guy's wife. And that singular fact is it makes all the difference. That fact, the fact that you're not his wife, you're not legally married to him, he's not responsible for you, legally responsible for you, and vice versa. So that's
he's not legally obligated.
Obligated. Do you understand? You have no right to demand certain things from him, certain level of commitment if he doesn't want to give it to you at that point. So so even if you have lived with him, you think you know him, you go to his house, wash his clothes, cook for him, two of you stay, have sex, all of that. Trust me, when you get married, is a totally different ball game. So you
in fact, so that I don't take all of your time and all of your evening and the rest, I want Collins to also we are having issues with Collins right now, because I wanted Collins to also say something before I come back and take all our final thoughts on this particular matter. Of course, this is already 9:34. I think I want to release you people to your wives, to your children, to your family. Barnabas, we have to bring Barnabas back. Sorry, I beg, not this. And to dinner too. Thank you.
I know I came in late. I was in a meeting before this one, so I just had to excuse myself from how to be here. And I have another meeting.
It has just been back to back for me and the rest, because I have a teens conference and I'm participating in the teens conference and the rest. So it has been a very big. I have to rush into the studio. So what we'll just do right now is that before I come back to Chijoke, I'll just want to ask Collins, so that I don't take your time any further and your wife does not sue me, because your wife can just decide to hire Peniela now to sue me and the rest. I would like to just ask, because we'll definitely bring you guys back. We'll definitely, and those times it will be one-on-one, so that we can just have extensive
milk them properly.
I am telling you. So, sir, what would be your final words to young men out there? So, Collins, your final words, Penela, your final words, then Mr. Chijoke.
Yeah, from me, I will advise young people. We are all young people, but I will advise those who have not gotten married. So you can't be too prepared. You can't be too prepared.
Mm.
It will, like CJ said, you will see some shockers. Sometimes you look as if, do I really know this person? It's not. You see, difference doesn't mean bad. That the person is different from what you thought she is, or from what you thought she was, or anything, doesn't mean she's bad. So one of the things is that be observant, so that you can make proper adjustments and you can make the adjustment on time. And the other thing is communication. Learn to communicate, and don't communicate when you have issues. Communicate after the issues, communicate before the issues. The best time to communicate is when you're happy, when you're having fun, when you're gisting, you're laughing, and the rest like that. And be ready to make sacrifice. That's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Collins. Marga Penela, what would be your final counsel to newly married men out there? Can you hear Mr. Penela?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please come again. I've had a lot of challenges with my network tonight. Yes, please come again.
Sorry.
I didn't hear the question.
It was, what would be your final word, your final counsel to young men out there?
Okay, young men that are yet to marry, or that are newly married.
Those that are about to marry, for those who right now they already have a wedding date, or those who have just also married.
Okay, well, I will. My greatest counsel to you will be that pursue the life of Christ. Pursue, a reformation of your life after that of Christ. And in order not to sound ambiguous, what I mean by that is that chapter 2 from verse 21 to 23 gave a good summary of the life of Christ. He knew no sin. There was no guile found in his mouth. So your mouth must be transformed. And when he was insulted, he did not insult back. He didn't retaliate. You must have the capacity to absorb. You understand? You must have the capacity to absorb without talking back, without retaliating, and to continue to walk in love regardless of what your partner does to you. And then when he suffered, he did not issue threats. So, a good summary of the life of Christ, I can tell you for free that the greatest thing that will determine the success of your marriage is actually the fruit of the Spirit in abundant supply. Yeah. The less of the fruit of the Spirit you have in your marriage, the more crisis you will have. So as from now, even if pursue the fruit of the Spirit, patience, perseverance, long suffering, love. No, real love, no, not emotional love. Gentleness. Those are the things that make marriage work.
But gentle in the house.
Sure.
Those are the things that make marriage work. So please, I want to beg you, pursue those things now, and you will have a good marriage. But if you don't pursue it, you will suffer. You will suffer in marriage, I tell you.
In fact, you just shared that scripture that you shared about Jesus Christ and how Jesus Christ responded to his persecution and his trials before his execution. I have actually never seen it in that light. So after today, I'm actually going to study it again and see, how do we as men actually apply this to our marriage? Because sometimes our wives, their mouth,
one last statement, sir. Yes, because if you know, it was from that point that chapter 3 verse 1 now say, likewise ye husbands. You remember, likewise ye wives. First Peter 3:1 say, likewise ye wives. And likewise must be pointing to something. So it was pointing actually to that First Peter 2:21 to 23. He was asking us to be like Christ, actually. That's God's master plan for successful marriage.
I'm opening my Bible now. See?
And here's my daughter. Okay, thank God. Finally, we can hear Barnabas. Barnabas, can you hear us? And lo and behold, can you hear us now? Can we hear you? I know you are hearing us. It is hearing you that is a challenge. Ah, we have to bring Barnabas back. The good thing about it is that we still have 2 series to go on this particular, 2 topics to go on this particular series. We still have first time dads, those that are becoming fathers for the first time, and we still have how to prepare for old age so that your wife does not leave you in the name of Omugwo and refuse to come back while you are alone as a single man in old age. You started life single, then you now end life single, although you are technically married. So we'll also see how we can do that. And if Barnabas is unable to join us today, if he's still having technical issues, we'll definitely see how we can bring it back on those topics. Barnabas, I know I can see you moving and the rest, but unfortunately, I cannot hear you. Mr. Chijioke, what will be your last words?
My last words would be, please, if you are cutting or planning your wedding already, or you are just married, please seek counseling. Okay, I'm an advocate for it. There's something that premarital counseling does for your marriage. I mean, not the regular one you just do for the sake of as a tradition. Yes, the one to do in most churches. I'm talking about good in-depth counseling. Yes, it has a way of just helping you preempt or forecast some of the possible challenges that might show up in your marriage, and it helps you deal with it before time. And then what another thing it does for you is that it gives you through that counseling, you're able to develop a blueprint on how to deal with possible issues that might come up in your marriage tomorrow. A lot of things that's helping me today.
True.
I spent money doing premarital counseling. And when I was doing it, my friends were like, "Are you mad?" And I was doing it in the course of planning my wedding. So I was spending money on that and also looking for money to do other things. But I knew how important. So right now in my home, I have a blueprint. I have a blueprint of how I run my home. So when we have issues, for example, recently, my wife started talking about bringing in a house help, because we discussed all of that before we got married during the course of our premarital counseling, and we made some decisions in that regard. So when she brought it up, she was saying it from a perspective that I didn't like. So instead of me having to go back and forth, I thought, let's go back to where we discussed this thing. And we went there, we consulted, and saw what we decided to do. Because sometimes emotions and circumstances can just make you want to shift certain grounds. But some of those decisions you made, just like Colin said, when some of you are not, when there's no tension, when there's no friction, some of those decisions you made are decisions that will actually give you the kind of results you want. The ones that you make in when there's friction, most times, are emotional, and they end up giving you the results you don't like. You understand? So so that's why it is good for you to sit down with your why don't just be all about the wedding, be all about the gram, be all about the paparazzi. Do you understand? Yes.
Just ensure that if you go to the marriage,
talk to a professional. I am here. All right, he's here, and all the people here. Talk to us. Let us help you, okay? And you would realize that you will just have a heaven on earth marriage. Thank you.
True. Scripture says that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. And we live in a generation where we are having amazing counselors out there. So that if you're a man, you are watching this, or you're a woman, you're watching this, for those who have been following us, or those who watch the replay of this, you can see our names, you can see our details on the description section. You could contact us, you could check us out, you could decide to seek our counsel to help your life and better your life. The truth about it is that our world needs men, real men, masculine men, right? And masculine men are not toxic. That's why I don't believe in anything called toxic masculinity. It is toxic humanity. You can either be toxic as a woman or you are toxic as a
Toxic
man.
as a man.
But
Yeah.
we need real men, masculine men, men who can stand up, men who can resist. And I like what one of my online mentors, Jordan Peterson, says: we need dangerous men. Because if you are not dangerous, if you are not somebody who is dangerous, then you don't need restraints. If you are not dangerous, then you don't need discipline. If you are not dangerous, then you don't need self control. The reason why you need these things is actually because you are dangerous. And so by the time you are able to regulate it, by the time you are able to control it, by the time you are able to discipline it, you are not able to channel that energy into productivity, into being productive. In fact, you need to be dangerous to be able to protect your wife and protect your children. You need to be able to look people in the eye and tell them, don't do that again. You need to be able to look the devil in the eye and say, this is my family, don't come close. Rather than those who want to be begging and want to be negotiating. Please now, no now. So if you're a man out there or a woman out there, please reach out to any of these men, contact us and see how you can talk to this man to better your life, to better. I know somebody, a woman has been looking for me now for about 2 months just because she wants her son to be one of my mentees, right? And we can raise giants men. Thank you so much. We could not hear Barnabas today. Lord have mercy. But thank God we still have 2 more topics in this series. By then, we are very sure that all technical issues will be fixed and he will be here. If you have not yet subscribe, share this so that your friends get to watch it. Next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Nigeria time, we'll be talking about newly married men. Some of the things we get to face when your wife becomes pregnant and she starts throwing up, all those drama. How do you deal with all those?
First time dad.
Sorry, thank you for that. First time dad. How to deal with all those things when the emergency happens, if water breaks, by the time the baby arrives and she's dealing with postpartum depression. How do you cope when you think that you have bought diaper for the month and all of a sudden your child now has a runny stomach and the diaper for the month now goes away in 1 week, 2 weeks? How do you deal?
I can relate.
10 diapers in 1 day. You feel like crying.
I can relate.
Babe, do you know that Dara used 10 diapers today? You think we'll just hit you for her.
Or when you now have to start managing the 2 mother-in-laws as to who will come for Omugwo, who will not come for Omugwo. By the time the child now starts suffering from colic, and so in the night nobody can sleep. Or rather, it is when you are done with work and you are coming home to sleep, that is when your child wants to start VG. So those are some of the things we will be discussing next week on how to deal with them. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. You rock. Thank you, family and friends, for coming. Thank you.